Hallo ihr Lieben, ihr wolltet schon immer mal mehr über Proteine erfahren? Dann seid ihr hier genau richtig. Denn wir haben ein weiteres Interview mit Valentina aufgenommen und dieses Mal geht es um Proteine. Hi Valentina, nice to have you here and thank you for our last very interesting interview. So the topic for today will be proteins. So can you tell us what are proteins and what is their function?
Proteins are biological molecules made by amino acid, and amino acids are composed by 4 different elements: carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, and oxygen. So we can imagine proteins like a necklace of pearls, and every protein differs by length and sequence of amino acid. And that is the reason why proteins have really different functions. You can imagine that in our body we have thousands of proteins, and every protein has a different structure. 20 are the basic amino acids composing a protein. 11 are synthesized by our body, and 9 amino acids we need to take it from our diet. The main function of protein in our body are mainly 6. A plastic one, energetic in some cases, regulatory, transportation of some molecules, contractile, and immunological.
Okay, thank you. And what are good protein sources?
Protein are present in animal and plant-based products. In animal origin products, the quality and quantity of proteins is higher comparing to the plant-based one. So the amino acid spectrum is wider for the same quantity. Nevertheless, if you mainly consume plant-based product, you can make up this low biological value by choosing different sources, so different food product providing you proteins, as well as increasing your daily intake by reaching the 2 gram per kilogram of body weight, which is the upper limit. We can find significant amount of proteins in, for example, red and white meat, in egg white, in fish like tuna, for example, but also in, as we were discussing, in plant-based products like lentils, chickpeas, peas, beans, soy, for example. And of course, you can always integrate with some protein powder, protein bars, or protein drinks, but this should be, of course, only integration and not substitution. Focusing on plant-based product, the best one providing most of the proteins are actually legumes, followed by cereals like oat, spelt, and rye. There are many benefits linked with consuming plant-based product, and I just want to mention a few of them. For example, a better balance of intestinal flora, which is supporting regular transit in your body, and so elimination of toxin, as well as a sense of fullness, gastric fullness, and this is particularly relevant for the ones following a low-calorie diet and they want to lose actually weight, and a reduction of consumption of saturated fatty acid and cholesterol.
Okay, now we know what proteins are and where we can find them, but how many proteins shall we consume and when?
The amount of protein we shall consume on a daily basis depends pretty much on our lifestyle, as well as on the type of physical activity we are performing. For example, if we are mainly a sedentary person, which is not really active during the day and not practicing any physical activity, I would say that an amount of 0.75 gram per kilogram of body weight a day is sufficient. As soon as we start to be a bit more active, for example, practicing some endurance sport like running, cycling, biking, or swimming, we should increase the amount of protein to reach level between 1.2 and 1.4 gram per kilogram of body weight a day. If our main physical activities is strength, then this limit should be increased up to 2 grams per kilogram of body weight a day. The timing of consumption is not so relevant, so it doesn't matter whether we consume it during lunchtime, during dinner, and also we can distribute it during the week. What we know is that if you are performing a strength workout, in order to optimize the synthesis of proteins, you should consume within 1 hour after your workout a source of food composed mainly by proteins and carbohydrate. So this is the recommendation I would give if you are an athlete performing a strength workout.
And what are the best proteins to maintain muscle mass?
Actually, there are no best or optimal proteins helping in building muscle mass. The only thing you can do, and this was also explained in the previous interview, is to follow 4 basic rules. First of all, to be in a positive energy balance, so meaning eating more than what you consume. Second, working out using mainly heavy weight to stress your muscles. Third one, to guarantee a good rest to your body and good sleep. And fourth one, to avoid having really high stress. So following those 4 rules should be enough to help you in building muscle mass. If you are mainly following a plant-based diet, of course you also have to make sure you consume enough proteins, and so that you are on an upper limit in terms of intake of protein, so close to the famous 2 grams of proteins per kilogram of body weight a day.
And last but not least, we want to know if the excess of protein can be dangerous.
Yes and no. So there are studies indicating that there is a negative effect when consuming protein in a high amount, and the negative effects are mainly on bones, kidney and liver. In people suffering of urinary or hepatic dysfunctions, it is of course recommended not to consume a diet with a high intake of proteins. Relatively to bones, there are some studies, but not yet confirmed, showing some negative effect on bones level when following a diet with high protein intake. Having said that, I would say for a person which is healthy and not having any dysfunctions or disease affecting bones, liver and kidney, there should be no problem to have a high quantity of proteins in his or her diet. Of course, I need to stress again that an amount overcoming the 2 grams or 2.5 grams per kilogram of body weight a day brings no benefit, no added value. So there is no point to overcome this amount. And it's definitely enough to stay below, and considering your physical activity as well your lifestyle.
Okay, we thank you for the interview and enjoy the sun.
It is always a pleasure to have interviews with you, and I hope the topic was interesting also this time, and I wish you to enjoy the nice weather and the sun. So see you next time. Bye bye.